This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2053. Living Paycheck to Paycheck? Here's How to Break the Cycle, Part 2, by Craig Stevens of RetireBeforeDad.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Today's post is actually a continuation from yesterday, so if you're new here, it'd be best to listen to yesterday's episode first. But if you're all caught up, let's hear Part 2 and continue optimizing your life. Living Paycheck to Paycheck? Here's How to Break the Cycle, Part 2, by Craig Stevens of RetireBeforeDad.com. Low wages. Despite the strong economy, not everybody is participating. Wealth growth increased by 4.56% in April 2018 year over year. That's below the average of 6.21% from 1960 until 2018. We know that wage growth is stronger in metropolitan areas, but stagnant in many parts of the country. Economists talk a lot about wage growth in a healthy economy because it's part of the cycle. When the unemployment rate is low as it is today, employers have to pay more for talent, increasing wages. But higher wage growth hasn't happened yet in this cycle, perhaps because employers have a broader pool of workers to choose from thanks to the surge in remote working. Or maybe globalization or robots or some combination of many factors. On an individual level, low wages stem from a lack of education. Education level is a powerful indicator of lifetime earning amounts. However, the cost of attaining a formal education is out of reach for many people these days. Low wages disproportionately impact people from disadvantaged socioeconomic backgrounds. Not everyone gets a fair shot, making it more difficult to make ends meet. Increasing costs. Housing is expensive in big cities and wealthy suburbs. In the Washington, D.C. metro region where I live, density is increasing while prices continue to rise. Even so, the price of my condo didn't rise much until shortly before I sold it. Our single-family home in the suburbs has risen about 20% over the past 9 years. Life feels expensive. Maybe because in those 9 years, I've been providing for 4 other human beings. With the economy strong, inflation is starting to pick up too. Inflation is the general increase in prices and the fall in the purchasing value of money. It slowly makes stuff more expensive. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, the metric most commonly used to measure inflation, rose 2.8% in the 12 months ending in May. The Federal Reserve's target inflation rate is 2%. That's one reason economists expect to see multiple rate increases this year. Rate increases lead to higher borrowing costs for everyone, which will increase the cost of living even more. And let's not forget about the rising cost of college and healthcare. How to break free from living paycheck to paycheck. It's tempting to accept that you can't save money because you don't make enough money, can't earn more, have a spouse or kids to support, have too many student loans, were slammed with medical bills, or don't have anyone to help you. All of that can be true, but that doesn't mean you can't make the sacrifices and changes needed to start crawling out of the trap. Escaping the paycheck to paycheck cycle requires a shift in mentality. Spending choices are made every day. You might buy coffee, watch cable TV, eat out, or wipe your butt with premium toilet paper instead of a basic brand. Each spending decision is a choice to consume more or save. One small purchase or premium upgrade may not seem like much, but hundreds of those every year make a difference. When most people save $1 in one place, they turn around and spend it somewhere else. They still end up broke at the end of the month. Worse yet, most people don't have any emergency savings. So when something happens that requires money, debt is the only solution. It doesn't have to be that way. In a previous article, I provided a bunch of concrete actions you can take to fix your cash flow problems and stop living paycheck to paycheck. Some ideas include: create a budget so you know where your money goes. Build emergency savings so you don't end up in the hole when the inevitable occurs. Change your Form W-4 to increase your take-home pay and decrease your tax refund. Cut spending and pay off debts to reduce reoccurring payments. Refinance your mortgage to lower your monthly payments. Refinance or consolidate consumer debts for lower rates and payment amounts. And temporarily decrease retirement contributions to free money to pay off debts. But the real secret to breaking free from the cycle is mental. Choose to break the cycle. Educate yourself, then follow through. We also make choices about earning. 40 hours per week may not be enough earning power to break out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Second jobs are everywhere. Side business opportunities are everywhere too. However, it's easier to keep on living the same way without the motivation to break the cycle. My day job is a 40-hour per week gig. I come home, maybe go to the pool, eat, and put the kids to bed. Then I have a choice. Do I work on my side business to try to earn more? Or do I watch The Americans with Mrs. Retire Before Dad? 4 to 5 nights a week, I choose extra work. This effort helped me escape an inadequate cash flow situation and now feeds my investment accounts, which earn me extra money every day. Since I broke the cycle many years ago, and again in recent memory, I don't necessarily need the extra money or work, but I enjoy it, and it's helping me to reach my goals sooner. Conclusion. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Hearing that 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck was an eye-opener, especially in such a booming economy. I'd be naive to think that my readers are immune to this statistic. Though you may not be one of them, it can still sneak up on you as it did to me at age 41. Buy the wrong car or house and your cash flow situation will be screwed shortly after. We should also all understand that despite the strong and strengthening economy, not everyone is participating. People are still struggling, and when the next recession arrives, those living paycheck to paycheck will be most vulnerable. Our job is to make sure it's not us. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled Living Paycheck to Paycheck, Here's How to Break the Cycle by Craig Stevens of retirebeforedad.com. When I was trying to get out of paycheck to paycheck living, it shocked me when I realized that a high income wasn't going to solve all my problems. I remember in college, one of my professors made a passive comment that if you could be earning 6 figures by the time you're 30, you'll be doing really well. I took that to heart and was thrilled to reach that level of income before 30 years old. But income is one piece of the puzzle when it comes to financial success. The thing that matters so much more than income is the gap between income and expenses. This is the thing I should have been focused on all along. Wealth is built in the gap. We grow the gap by increasing our income and reducing expenses. We protect the gap by making sure we don't fall victim to lifestyle inflation. We monitor the gap by tracking our expenses, budgeting, and calculating our savings rate each month. And we deploy the gap to get our money working for us in a variety of ways. We can deploy or use the gap to pay off debt, build an emergency fund, and invest for our future. A focus on the gap is really about money management, and this is a much more powerful and reliable way to build wealth and get out of the paycheck to paycheck slog. And that's another episode of Optimal Finance Daily in the books. Thank you for your support and for listening every day. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.